Welcome to Tales from the Cube. My name is Cliff Tour, and it's a new episode that we're doing today on telemarketing. One of the areas of call center work is, of course, outbound and inbound telemarketing. I'll describe the two as we go along, but essentially, what we're talking about here is how telemarketing essentially works, what it's about, why it's done. Excuse the frog in the throat. So essentially, telemarketing is a method by which, of course, the phone is used to call to people, and it is done for a variety of different companies in a variety of different subsets. So, for example, telemarketing can be done for companies that deal with food. There's also companies that call on behalf of heating and cooling companies. There are companies that will use telemarketing services to go forward and promote phone services, or even your bank might call you with services as well. Insurance companies might do this as well. So there's a whole wide range of telemarketing that goes on out there. And essentially, the way it works, or the way it is supposed to work, is either a client comes to an agency, or the agency goes out and looks for clients via their sales arm. And what they'll do is they'll get together with the client, and they'll start to begin to put together what is known as a list. And this list is comprised of data that includes names, phone numbers, addresses, and the like. And what they do is they look for a clean list. Sometimes they'll just get a list, but they'll look for a clean list, meaning that that list has been what we call in the industry a scrubbed list. So what happens when they get that scrubbed list is they go forward and make the calls. Now, I've worked in call centers where the list isn't scrubbed. So essentially, we're getting a list with what is known as a challenge list sometimes, basically because there's challenges in the list. There's not enough information in there. So what's happening here in that particular list is you're going forward and calling people and trying to get the information as to whom they are, what their address is, and if there's a sales opportunity there. And essentially, what's happening in that particular call is a whole bunch of data gathering, but also a sales opportunity to try and sell whatever product that there is that is being promoted at the time, whether it's phone service, food services, or any other kind of thing that you might consider to be done, even maid services that might use this, or newspapers and so on and so forth. So essentially what's going on here is this call out to people in this list that has little information on it. Some of these lists are small, some of them are big, and what will happen is, the telemarketer will go through them, try and get the correct information, and try and make a sale on them. One of the things that is really challenging with that is, of course, um, making sure that you're doing the job in a manner that is professional and also doesn't come across as too cheesy. You don't want to really uh, blow that sale. So it's kind of like, we want the data, but we also want you to buy something from us, and it's a real mix of trying to make sure that you're not blowing it on the first hop, because you really only get, technically speaking, three tries at a sale. That's what the standard is. At least at the time I was working as a telemarketer, was you tried three rebuttals. You try at least three times to get somebody to say, I'm interested, I want the product. So that was a challenge. And once you got past that three, you might try for a fourth or fifth. If you can see that you can kind of reel the customer in, you would try that. But usually I would stop at three. I'm not a telemarketer. I have never really been great at it. I wasn't in the top five, but I was a bit of a shooter. So basically, what I would do is, if I got a list that was unscrubbed, I would basically shoot it. So shooting is basically a term used in telemarketing where we're picking the list off, and we're basically kind of burning it. So we're trying to clear it out so that we can get what we can out of it. And The idea is that you go through it, you find good hot leads, and you get rid of the junk as you go through. So shooting basically is like, hi, I'm Cliff. I'm from XYZ company. Uh, I'm just confirming that this is so and so uh, at this address. Is this right? Or is this your address? And oh, okay, wrong number. All right, but hey, do you know what? I'm still interested in talking with you. I'd like to know if you'd be interested in taking XYZ as a look at this and seeing if this might be something you would like to have. I have it on a special deal at XYZ price, and I'd be very happy to send this out to you. So you try and engage them while confirming the data, and then you go through it and try and sell it. And sometimes it worked, most times it didn't. I found that basically you're just cleaning the list, you're scrubbing it. Now, an unscrubbed list, and there are those out there, are lists that are really confirmed. They've actually bought before, so we know that these are people that are going to buy and possibly get into doing that again. So you have all the correct information. So you're just calling them and saying, "Hi, my name's Cliff. Is this the Jones residence? Hey, nice to meet you, Mr. Jones. I just want to let you know we have an offer for a new credit card. It's a gold standard card. You qualify for this. All I have to do is get some basic information, and we can set you up." And that's called an assumptive close. So I'm assuming you want it, and basically, the idea here is that we want that sale right off the hop. We're not looking for a no, we're looking for a yes. So essentially, we assume the sale. So I can get it out to you today. And a person might say, no, well, what's holding you back? Is it this? Is it that? And you try to rebut it. And after the third rebuttal, you close the call, you disposition it. And a disposition basically is a code or a thing that you type in that says this is what this customer did. They declined the offer. They accepted the offer. They don't want us on the list anymore, calling them. So they want us to remove, and so on and so forth. So that's it in a nutshell. That's how telemarketing works. So what happens is when we get a list, it's either unscrubbed or scrubbed. It goes into a computer, and that computer basically will start to set up the list in such a manner that it will break it up. And what it will do is it will start to assign to the stations that are in the call center how that's going to go out, how the calls are going to be made. And then what happens is it picks the agents and it goes through that part of the list. Now, what's going to happen is it's just ringing up numbers, dialing automatically. It's an automatic dialer. So it's going through and it's looking for anything that will get through. Once it sees a line that's open and you can get through, then basically what it will do is it will go forward and do that. It'll bring it uh, to that agent, and that agent basically opens the call with the preamble. Hi, my name is so and so from XYZ, or on behalf of XYZ, and we begin the process. Other than that, what it's looking for is dead numbers. So you might hear we don't hear it in the background, but the computer will hear like a ba 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 ba. That means that number doesn't work. So it's hearing a tone that's like a static tone, like beep 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 beep. That usually indicates the number it is not working, or it might be picking up a voicemail. Oh, that's a voicemail. Chuck it out. We're not leaving voicemails, or it detects something there, but then the person hangs up right away, and so the line is closed. So hang up. So on and so forth. It goes through all that until it connects with a number, and then you're in. You're basically going forward with that particular process, and that's how it goes. Through, and then you start your work. Um, you're in the call. You might be following a script. A telemarketer might be looking at a script, or he might be winging it. So you might have some basic idea of what the product is, but they do their own script. Others, it's much more scripted, and I've worked in both situations where it's verbatim. You're reading the script. You're going through, and it sounds like it, but a person who's really got a good grip on this, is going to be able to read that script and just know what's going on in there really, really quickly, and just gets it off bang, and it sounds so smooth. You wouldn't even know he's reading the script. So it's a thing that it gets developed as you do the work. Now, I did telemarketing for the first couple of years. From that time onward, I got into the customer service realm, and of course, now I do tech support. It was interesting. Some of the things I did were very interesting. Like I said, phone companies, card companies. Um, Sometimes I would just be calling to qualify the list. Okay, this is a good customer, and we can put that list together and go forward with it. But most times it was just basically trying to shoot the list, basically hit it and see if I could get a sale. Was I great at it? No, I sucked. I am not a telemarketer. You don't want me doing this. And really, in all honesty, most people don't really do well in this particular um, part of the call center industry. It's very high turnover. Well over 60 or 70% of the people that come into that particular work will not succeed. The other 30 are going to be broken up into those who are, the top five, and then, the top 20%. So the 20% that are in there, they get sales, but they're not really strong sales. I mean, they'll get them, and they'll succeed very well to be able to keep their jobs. And then you get to top 5%. These are the heavy hitters. These guys always make a sale, so they're just churning them out. The one drawback, though, particularly with regard to this kind of thing, is what's known as a fake sale. So sometimes what people will try to do is push a sale through that's not really legitimate. And I've seen this happen in particular internal call centers where we're getting people calling us and we're trying to make a sale. They're calling for customer service, but we're also doing a sales element. So it's part telemarketing as well. And what happens is that person will actually dismiss us from the sale, even though they got a soft yes. That's illegal. It's a no-no, and I've seen people get caught. It's not really funny when, particularly, I was in a bank one time, and I heard about the incident where somebody got caught, and essentially a couple of security guys, big mountain dudes, shoulders like the size of Mount Rushmore, come walking in. Yes, I'm exaggerating, and they have no neck, and they just say, "You're coming with us." That's if you get that, you're in trouble. So you don't want to do a fake sale. It's not really going to go well for you. And besides which, the customer will eventually call back and cancel it. You'll lose your commission, and you could get in serious trouble for a whole lot of things that you shouldn't be doing. So that I've seen happen within the top 5%. Not usually in the group that's around the 20% mark. They're pretty straightforward. And that's where I sort of was in and out. I was more or less at the bottom, and then sometimes I would be in that 20%, getting the sales. Like I said, the other 70%, they're just not going to cut it. After the first week or so, even the first couple of days, they're gone. They're out. So there's a high churn in the call center industry. But here's where I would say this is something you want to try with regard to working in call centers, in the call center industry. If you really want to be in customer service, if you really want to learn how to do the customer service trade, start off as a telemarketer, because it's going to give you the thick skin. You're going to need that thick skin because in telemarketing, you're getting a lot of people who are going to push back on you. They're going to swear at you. They're going to tell you get a real job. They're going to quote, and I actually got this a lot. They're going to quote Jerry Seinfeld, who I absolutely do not like. I wouldn't say despise, but I say just really hated that particular comedian's style. Never really cared for his comedy. It was really just dumb. But the idea of that skit where he's talking about, hey, how about you give me your number and I call you? So what? It's not that funny. But you're going to get that kind of thing. And if you develop the thick skin, you're going to be able to go forward and do this kind of work as a customer service rep or even a technical support guy, because you've developed that armor. You've got that thick skin to do the kind of work that the upper echelons, if you will, do, like the tier twos or the long-term people that work in a call center more than a couple of years. You'll have developed that, and that's really what you're going for. So if you want to work in this as a career, you want to go forward and make sure that you have that thick skin. And telemarketing is going to start you off that way. You're going to get that thick skin because you're going to need it. You really are going to need it if you're going to do this long term, like I have. Um, would I say that this is a good job for a teenager? Yeah, it's a great job for a teenager. It teaches them patience, discipline. It teaches them how to basically manage time, because that's another thing that's going to be something they're going to learn. And you can even take this outside of call centers and work in other industries, like I don't know, let's say police work, or working in other industries where you're facing the people and you're dealing with difficult individuals. Working in a call center is going to help you, particularly if you're a telemarketing, to deal with difficult people, because that's what you're going to be getting in general. And I'm going to bring this out into the general scope of what call centers often face. And a lot of people will say to me, and this is a line I get, "Hey, do you get a lot of these calls?" And the answer I always provide is, "Well, I don't sit here getting calls about the sunny weather. That's not what we're doing today. We're trying to help people, and that's not to be a smart aleck. It's just the reality of what happens in the call center. Most of the time, people who are getting the calls, like myself, we're not getting these calls because people want to talk to us. They really actually don't, unless they're doing an order, for pizza or a book or something else like that. They're happy. They want to talk to you, or they want to buy something. So they're happy and they're talking to you. But generally, when somebody's calling their cable company or their phone company, or their technology company like Samsung or Apple, they're not calling us because they want to shower us with praise. It's because something has gone wrong. So they may not be in the greatest moods. So this is where the telemarketing experience helps you develop into the kind of agent that you need to be to do this kind of work. It's going to be a challenge. You're going to have good days and bad days working in this industry. And believe me, I've had my number. I faced people who are really, really nice, and I faced people who are extremely nasty. And I can tell you, one of the worst incidences that I've ever experienced was working on the current campaign that I'm on. I had a customer call me up wanting to stomp on my testicles, stab me, and basically spit on me. I've actually had people threaten to do that to me. So it's very traumatic at times. It will actually freak you out a little bit. It did me. Took me a little while to get over that, but I did, and I'm still working in the industry. So you're going to face things like that. But if you develop that thick skin, it won't be so traumatic. Now, for some people, after a while, though, they will get to a point where it's just too much, and it's time to leave. And you'll know that when you get there. You get the burnout, and you'll just leave and go into another industry. You might come back in, like I've done before, or you might just say it's time to hang up the headphones and move on. What I will say at the end of this, as far as telemarketing goes, is that you want to try this with an open mind. And also, I would say that for people receiving a call, remember that the people who are calling you are doing a job. It's not a joke. It's not something that they're, trying to, uh, you know, put one over on you. They're not trying to do this. They're actually doing an honest job. Now, there are dishonest call centers out there. There are call centers that are doing this illegally. You got to pay attention, yes, but a lot of legitimate call centers do this kind of work, and it is a legitimate business. So try to have a little bit of patience and understanding, if you can. And of course, if you're receiving call after call, I get it. After a while, you've had enough. It's just simply all I would recommend saying is, thank you for the call. I'm really busy. Please remove my number from your list here and now. And I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Goodbye. That's really what you should do. Now, I have to admit, I don't always practice what I preach. I've yelled at these people too. And I work in the industry. That's even funnier. But it does happen that that's something that's going to be, a thing. But if you can try and remain patient with a telemarketer, you're probably going to have a better outcome. And you know what? I would even at times, if you hear particularly that they sound like they're new, give them an opportunity to sell you or attempt to sell you the product, because it will give them confidence to go on and do the next call. You don't have to buy it, but let them do their pitch. you might be surprised. You might find it interesting, and of course, it helps them. So try a little bit to be decent. I think is the best way to go about doing this. That's what I would say. Um, so that's the basic rundown of how a telemarketing call works and how telemarketing works in general. I could have gone into more detail about how uh, things are managed as far as call centers, who what the managing style is, but I'll talk about that in another episode. How call centers are managed, who runs what and does what. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what the entry point is for call center work and how it goes and what it's done. My name is Cliff Tour. I really appreciate you dropping into this episode of Tales from the Cube. I'm going to be trying to get this out on a regular basis, hopefully on a Friday or a Saturday every week, and we'll see what progresses and how it works and how we do with regard to this. You can find us on Anchor, Spotify. You can find us in uh, the iHeartRadio player, and also I believe I'm on the uh, Amazon Music channels as well, so you can find me there. I'm going to try and get on some other platforms, but Spotify is really one of the best places you can look for Tales from the Cube. And I really do appreciate this, venture that you're working through with me on. If you're, thinking about a career or just interested in entertaining kind of aspect of this, I hope you find this interesting. Oh yes, I forgot to mention we're also on Google, so you can find us on Google Podcasts as well. So take a look around for us, and thank you very much for listening to this episode. Again, my name is Cliff Tour. I am a professional call center rep, and I will see you in the next episode of Tales from the Cube, right across your favorite channel. Have a great day.